Inside a Hollywood bank, two notorious criminals carry out an armed robbery. Outside, 15 police officers have them surrounded.
They're gonna drop the money, drop the gun, put their hands up and give up.
But what happens next sparks one of the most violent gun battles in modern police history.
This was completely automatic, man. They were just blasting away.
A dangerous scenario is now a critical situation.
Officers taking out shots are still being fired.
Had a sense that, you know what, this could be it.
Law enforcement in Los Angeles will never be the same again.
We need help out here with the officers down. You're gonna get an attack over here.
Police officer Martin Whitfield takes a bullet in the thigh. 13 centimeters of bone shatter. Another round strikes him in the chest. He's slipping away.
9089, I'm losing consciousness.
9089, hang in there.
His colleagues can hear him. They can see him, but they can't get to him.
There's an officer down.
February 28th, 1997. There's never been a more dangerous time to be a police officer in LA. On average, 3 armed robberies take place every day, and somewhere in the city, 2 people will be shot dead. For the last 6 months, police have lobbied hard for more powerful weaponry to take on the criminals. But these are politically sensitive times. Since the beating of Rodney King sparked the 1992 LA riots, the LAPD has had to tread carefully.
We are well prepared to deal with any eventualities of civil unrest.
The officers' requests for bigger guns haven't been granted. In the same city, a mountain of seized weapons proves that criminals are able to acquire almost anything they want. One man has amassed a personal armory. He is 26-year-old Larry Phillips, boss of a 2-man gang known to the LAPD as the High Incident Bandits. His partner in crime is Emil Matasareanu. He's a 130-kilogram jobless giant who suffers seizures as a result of epilepsy. 30-year-old Matasareanu does exactly what Phillips tells him. As this actual security footage shows, the two have a deadly approach. They carry machine guns, and they aren't afraid to use them. In 2 years, the High Incident Bandits have pulled off at least 3 heists, netting almost $2 million. They're not just armed robbers, they're wanted for murder. During one raid in 1995, they killed a security guard with an AK-47. Today, the High Incident Bandits are planning their biggest job yet, a heist on a branch of the Bank of America in North Hollywood. 6.5 kilometers away, at North Hollywood Police Station, new recruit James Zaborovan gets ready for his shift. North Hollywood is his beat, and being a police officer is life's ambition.
My goals were to finish probation as a rookie, get as much knowledge base as possible, and then work a variety of assignments and have a long, healthy career.
Zaborovan checks out his standard police issue Beretta 92F handgun. A basic but reliable semi-automatic pistol, it holds 15 rounds, yet only has to be cocked once. It will then fire a single shot with every pull of the trigger. Phillips and Matasareanu are going to work with far more potent equipment. They will escalate criminal firepower to new heights, even by their own lethal standards. Among 5 machine guns, 3 examples of Philip's favorite rifle, the AK-47. Made in Romania, it can fire 600 rounds a minute with a range of 1,500 meters. Fully automatic, the Kalashnikov can fire non-stop. Just pull the trigger and it pins down the target in a hail of bullets. Phillips ensures he'll get the most out of his AK-47s by acquiring illegal 100-round drums. Banned in California, the high-capacity magazines minimize the need for reloading. The pair stash their rifles, 3 handguns, and 3,000 rounds of ammunition into the trunk of a Chevy. They head for Laurel Canyon Boulevard, North Hollywood, where the local Bank of America is open for business. The branch's assistant manager, John Villagrana, arrives late for work. He's got a hectic day ahead, and it's about to get busier.
As soon as I walk in the lobby, first thing I look is the clients in the lobby. It's very busy. Second, I look at my teller line. I look and see how many employees I've got, how many tellers I've got open. And I notice that I'm short 1. I say, well, great. So first thing I got to open up before I start getting complaints.
It's the last Friday of the month, payday for many workers, and the morning the bank usually holds the most cash. The bulk of the money is stored in a steel vault at the rear of the building. The bank, one of the busiest in LA, sits on a 2,000 square meter site on Laurel Canyon Boulevard. It has 2 main entrances and 2 parking lots, one to the south, the other to the north. Larry Phillips goes through his final preparations. He's sourced a prescription drug called phenobarbital, which will calm their nerves. Then, he puts in place the final piece of his elaborate plan. He knows that as soon as they walk in brandishing weapons, staff will trigger an alarm. But Phillips has been listening to police scanners and doing his sums. He's worked out that it will take police about 8 minutes to get to the scene. They set their watches to alert them when their 8-minute time limit is up. The North Hollywood heist has begun. In an extraordinary coincidence, just 20 meters away, 2 officers drive past in their patrol car. They suspect that the giant black-clad figures are the notorious high-incident bandits. The officers pull up and report a suspected 211, police code for an armed robbery. This is the actual call they make.
5840, speaking, requesting assistance. We have a possible 211 in progress at the perimeter.
The officers outside are stunned to hear automatic gunfire.
Bank of America. We have shots fired.
Patrol cars race to the scene. 4 minutes into the robbery, the stage is set for the most dramatic police gun battle ever waged on US soil. As police close in on a bank robbery in North Hollywood, over 50 rounds have been fired inside. Officers fear there's been a civilian massacre. To protect the public, officers must form a perimeter. Behind the bank is a 2-meter-high wall with residential homes to the rear. Across the road, a parking lot fronts a row of stores and businesses. An officer parks up in the north lot. Veteran Ed Brentlinger has seen it all. But even he's shocked by the gunfire inside the bank.
This was completely automatic, man. They were just blasting away, and there were more bullets than there could have been people inside the bank, and it just seemed like they were shooting a lot.
Brentlinger decides to take better cover behind the bank's rear wall. He knows from the sound of machine guns that he's up against the high-incident bandits.
What made them unique was the viciousness. I mean, they didn't care about life at all. They'd go up and without even telling these guards from these banks, give me your money, they'd just go up and blast them.
Cancel the outside unit.
Another officer parks up at Laurel Canyon and Archwood, a junction north of the bank.
59 on 13, cancel the outside.
Father of three, Martin Whitfield, has just dropped off his kids at school. Sheltering next to Whitfield is Sergeant Dean Haynes. When he sees unsuspecting customers walking towards the bank, he orders them to take cover behind his vehicle. Officers know from experience that a patrol car can provide life-saving protection. But Tracy Fisher isn't so sure.
My first instinct was, oh my God, we are not in a very good place.
James Zaborovan and his partner, Stuart Guy, park up in the lot opposite the bank. They take shelter behind a kiosk. It's the perfect strategic position. From here, they can cover the building's two exits, the north door and the south door. Rookie Zaborovan is convinced they've got the situation covered.
We were all set, ready to go. The bank is basically surrounded. They're gonna drop the money, drop the gun, put their hands up and give up.
Zaborovan's colleagues are training their 9mm handguns on the exits. But he's packing an Ithaca 12-bore pump-action shotgun. Whereas the Beretta pistols have an optimum range of about 30 meters, his shotgun can fire a concentrated spread of buckshot twice as far. He's 40 meters from the bank. From this distance, he can't miss. Phillips and Matasaranu want access to the vault, and they know from their months of reconnaissance which man holds the keys. Assistant Manager John Villagrana. He's crouching behind the counter. To get to him, Matasaranu has to blast his way through a bulletproof security door. It's only designed to withstand small arms fire.
And I can feel the nozzle of the rifle being placed on my back. He hit me with the rifle on the side of the head like, I mean business. And I said, well, let's go to the vault.
John unlocks the vault and opens the lockers storing the cash. There's nothing like the amount of money the gunmen are expecting. To thwart criminals, Bank of America has been varying the times that it delivers cash. Today's supply has yet to arrive.
I'm not emptying in the amount of cash that maybe he was expecting. I can feel it in his tone. Now he's getting a little more aggressive. He's saying, where's all of it? I want you to open up all of it, you know? He got upset. So what does he do? He opens fire in all the money that's in that cabinet. And I could see he's not believing me because he's all of a sudden he got very quiet. But now he's putting his nozzle on me. And I was thinking, well, you know, this is it. This is really it for me now. Wow, can't be. It's too soon, you know? I didn't even say goodbye to my daughter. I didn't.
Outside, officers call for every available ambulance. They fear multiple casualties. It's exactly 8 minutes since the start of the robbery. Time for the gunmen to make their getaway. They've got $300,000, a fraction of what they'd expected. Mata-Serrano exits the building's south door. Phillips, the north. Phillips expected a few police cars to be just arriving. He appears stunned to see dozens of officers waiting to shoot them down. They cover every escape route, blocking off junctions north and south of the bank. The police have cornered the robbers, but they've no idea what Phillips has in mind. He loathes the police. He's been in trouble since his teens for shoplifting and fraud. He's already served 3 months in jail for possession of illegal firearms. Now, it's payback time.
And they just brought up these 2 huge guns, and that was the beginning of about 45 minutes.
A bullet exits the Kalashnikov. Police are convinced that the patrol car will provide cover. But the slug slices straight through the metal. Another bullet slams into Tracy Fisher. Her body reacts immediately to the trauma. A blast injury triggers a release of natural pain-killing chemicals called endorphins. The nerves go into shock, numbing the victim.
At first, it was too surreal to really get what was happening. I knew I had been shot, but it felt like somebody had taken a baseball bat and hit my foot.
The suspect possibly have armor-piercing ammunition.
Phillips' obsession with weaponry has given him the upper hand. He combed the world for ammunition to defeat a police ambush. He discovered steel-plated bullets made in the former Soviet bloc, which can penetrate car metal. He imported them by the thousand. Each steel-coated slug exits the AK-47 at 850 meters, or nearly a kilometer per second. For police and civilians, nowhere is safe from such destructive power.
We are all pinned down by automatic gunfire.
He had automatic weapons with armor-piercing rounds. You know, for every one we shot, they would shoot 50. It's almost like we're shooting slingshots.
Their only hope is that the criminals will go. When, 7 minutes into the firefight, Mata-Serrano climbs in the Chevy and shouts at Phillips to do the same, officers pray they'll make their getaway without further bloodshed.
If they had wanted to get away at that point, they could have drove out that parking lot right then.
But Phillips knows he's packing the bigger weapons, and he's not finished yet. His loyal stooge, Mata-Serrano, joins him. LAPD is faced with an unprecedented scenario. Robbers who want to stay and fight.
We had never dealt with a situation like that in the history of law enforcement in this country. I mean, this was the first time that they had a shootout of that magnitude.
Within seconds, Sergeant Dean Haynes is shot. He radios for help. This is his actual call.
Call 3, all officers stay down. Shots are being fired from AK-47. There is an officer down.
One of the operators fielding calls at the control center is Guadalupe de la Cruz. She's still training to qualify as a radio operator, but she understands the gravity of Officer Haynes' transmission.
The worst call that we can possibly get as a radio telephone operator is an officer down, an officer that's injured. That's our highest priority. I'm advising all the divisions around that he's injured, there's outstanding suspects, and that there's still shots being fired.
There is an officer down.
James Zaborovan is still taking cover behind the kiosk with his 12-gauge shotgun. When he hears the words "officer down," he makes a big decision. By now, 2 plainclothes detectives have joined Zaborovan and his partner, Stuart Guy, behind the kiosk.
As soon as I pumped the shotgun, I broke out in a cold sweat.
But he's the only officer on the front line packing a shotgun. It's got the range to take the gunman down, and he's an ace marksman. 9 pieces of buckshot streak across the street and strike Larry Phillips in the upper body. It's a textbook police body shot, and he waits for the gunman to go down. But, concealed under bulky clothes, Phillips is wearing body armor, neck to toe. He's spent weeks painstakingly cutting and stitching bulletproof material called aramid into full bodysuits. Both men reinforce their armor with metal plates over their vital organs. Phillips carries more than 18 kilograms of protection, about the equivalent in weight to 5 bowling balls. 5 times stronger than steel, aramid can withstand the force of the pellets and is flexible enough to absorb the energy.
Phillips spun around. He immediately locked onto our position, and for a split second or two, we were looking at each other. He raised that AK-47 and began spraying the fully automatic gunfire. Bullets were racing through the key shop. We were being, hit with shrapnel, and I had realized that the detectives weren't wearing body armor.
Zaborovan shields the detectives as best he can. Like Phillips, he's wearing body armor. But his standard issue Kevlar vest is built to resist lead projectiles from small arms, not steel-coated bullets from a high-velocity rifle. A slug rips through his vest into his lower back. A second bullet enters his side and exits his upper leg.
It was a very, very intense burning sensation. Almost like I was on fire.
After that, it's just every other call that came out was just officers going down.
We need help out here with the officers down. Yes, you better get an attack alert here.
It was very scary to hear them scared, to hear them hurt and not being able to help each other.
Any unit know how many officers are down? We have 1.
More than one.
That was the scariest part. It's not supposed to happen that way.
1 other officer has been hit. We are declaring attack alert.
Radio control alerts SWAT. But it will take a SWAT unit time to get to the scene. Until then, officers must fend for themselves. At the junction of Laurel Canyon and Archwood, north of the bank, Martin Whitfield is next to go down.
Officer down at the southwest corner of entrance in Laurel Canyon.
In a grotesque twist, Whitfield's fiancée, Kim, is listening to it all on a police radio at home.
I screamed so loud because you're not there. All I heard him say is that he was shot, and for all I knew at that point, that could have been his last words.
The gunmen continue blasting at anything that moves. The first news crews arrive on the ground and capture these extraordinary images. Police and medics scramble for cover, unable to get to the injured. News choppers now circle above, providing a live grandstand view to millions of TV viewers.
They were actually firing on us right now.
On the ground, officers watch their bullets bounce off the gunman's armor.
He had body armor all up and down, and our 9mm weren't penetrating. That would just put a stark fear into you because you're thinking, I've already shot at this guy 27 times, and it's like, wow, what, it's not fair.
He's got heavy body armor. Go for the head.
To end the battle, someone needs to take a headshot. But officers are too far away to hit the target with their handguns. James Zaborovan has been shot twice, but he's determined to survive.
I said to myself, just because you're shot doesn't mean you're gonna die. I'm not gonna lay there and resign myself to death. I'm gonna get up and fight, take cover, what have you, but I'm not gonna stay there.
He can't afford to wait for help. He spots the front door of a dental office and makes a run for it.
Phillips was shooting at us, and as I jumped through the door, his bullets hit and shatter the glass.
Zaborovan is safe, for now. Back in the danger zone, officers and civilians desperately look for escape routes. In the parking lot across the street, Zaborovan's partner, Stuart Guy, and Detective Tracy Angeles have fled the kiosk and cower behind two vehicles. But gunman Emil Matasareanu is starting to find his range. Stuart Guy is seriously injured. He knows from police training how to enhance his chances of surviving gunshot trauma. He stays as still as he can and controls his breathing. This slows his heart rate, which reduces his blood loss and buys precious time to get rescued. At the junction north of the bank, officers and civilians are still pinned down. Officer Whitfield and Sergeant Haynes realize nobody is coming to rescue them. So, when there's a break in firing, they run for help. Haynes trips and falls. Whitfield keeps running, but bullets whistle about him. He decides to take cover behind a tree. He grabs it, but his momentum carries him round until he's exposed to Larry Phillips. A bullet hits his femur bone, dead center. 13 centimeters of bone explode, 6-centimeter splinter through his leg. A fourth bullet strikes him in the chest. Whitfield's distraught fiancée, Kim, hears his calls for help. She can't understand why colleagues aren't going in to rescue him.
989, I'm losing consciousness. I'm in Laurel Canyon.
In sheer frustration, she calls his police station.
I said, if you don't go get him, I will. And I meant that. I meant that with every part of me, that no matter what, he was not going to lay there and die.
Whitfield continues to plead for help, using his radio ID code 9L89.
9L89, I need somebody to help.
9L89, hang in there.
The radio operator who gets his call is rookie Lupe de la Cruz. She knows from her training how critical it is to keep Whitfield conscious.
If he stopped talking to me, then they would never find him. So that was just my biggest fear. I wanted to keep hearing his voice and making sure that he was still there.
9L89, 9837 is almost there. Hang in there.
9L89, I don't see anyone around here.
9L89, hang in there. 9837 is almost there.
9L89, thank you. Thank you for talking.
Just hang in there a little bit longer. Someone's gonna get to you. They're gonna find you. I am not gonna be the last person you talk to.
Whitfield lies just 114 meters from the gunman, directly in their line of fire. Every available patrol car musters near the scene, but the intensity of gunfire prevents them going in. Among them, officers Todd Schmitz and Tony Kabunik listen in agony as Lupe de la Cruz pleads for someone to go and help Whitfield.
Any unit that's available to respond to 9L89, 6600 block of Laurel Canyon.
I have to save him. If I was in that position, man, I would want somebody to come help me.
He's losing consciousness. Officer has been hit.
But Kabunik's experience tells him that any rescue attempt is a potential suicide mission.
9L89, 9L89, come in.
Then, Officer Whitfield stops responding.
9L89, 9L89, come in.
That's when my mind went to the worst case scenario. That's when my mind went to
9L89, 9L89, come in.
he's gone.
Officer Kabunik can't bear to sit back and do nothing for a second longer.
This is what I signed up for. If I'm gonna be taken today, then so be it. But I'm definitely gonna, take this stance and go in.
The car powers into a hail of gunfire.
We can hear shots being fired right over the top of us, next to us. Just kind of the whip of these stray bullets, whizzing by us.
But before they can get to Whitfield, they come across two other injured officers in the parking lot. They are Stuart Guy and Tracy Angeles. As he leads the rescue, Kabunik faces his greatest fear.
It sounds rather morbid, but you kind of think of your own mortality. And you wonder, if I do get hit, will I have an open casket on this?
They make it. They've rescued two officers. But the man they want to save, Martin Whitfield, is still bleeding out in the kill zone. 18 minutes into the gun battle, with the police on their knees, SWAT arrives.
We need help out here with the officers down.
SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. The first ever SWAT unit was formed in LA in 1967, specifically to tackle this type of emergency. SWAT carries automatic weapons as standard. Veteran Don Anderson recognizes that this is situation critical.
I mean, these individuals had just total disregard for human life. They fired 1,100 rounds in the city of Los Angeles, and when you fire those rounds, they have to land somewhere.
Before tackling the gunman, SWAT has a more urgent priority: rescuing Officer Whitfield and the civilians. To do this, they need to go right into the heart of the shooting. The question is, how? Then, one of the officers spots something. It's an armored truck with today's cash delivery. Could the 15-ton steel vehicle be just what they need to deliver Whitfield out of the danger zone? 5 officers commandeer the truck. They climb in and drive through gunfire towards Whitfield. He's still breathing, but he's lost several pints of blood and is barely conscious. They scoop his motionless body into the back. Now, just the civilians remain in the kill zone, but time is running out for one of them.
Mikey was bleeding a lot, and that's what concerned me. I mean, he was sitting in a pool of his own blood. And all I remember is trying to feel where the blood was coming from so I could at least put pressure on it. All of a sudden, we saw this armored vehicle come right 10 feet away from us and stop and it was just like hearing angels' horns. I thought, oh my God, we are so rescued.
SWAT now turns its attention to taking down the gunman. But they have other ideas.
We've just seen this white sedan pull up to the scene here. Now, this is a suspect.
Knowing SWAT is packing automatic rifles, the gunmen make a break for it.
Okay, we have some gunfire right now going on. We just saw some puff of smoke coming out of the sun.
Millions of TV viewers watch Larry Phillips lead on foot while his partner drives the Chevy, loaded with weapons and ammunition.
We've got one suspect driving the white vehicle from the north parking lot. We've got one suspect on foot. Suspect vehicle, do not stop it. They've got automatic weapons. There's nothing we have that can stop them.
Officers are desperate to prevent their march into a residential neighborhood. They shoot out all 4 tires. But this fails to stop them. Inexplicably, Phillips now splits with his partner. Whether he's planning to escape or to inflict more collateral damage isn't clear, but it presents officers with fresh terror.
F45's all officers out here at my end to stay down. There's all kinds of ricochets flying. Stay down, everybody.
All officers stay down. Shots are still being fired.
This is obviously an accomplice here on this white vehicle here that we're seeing now drive quite erratically, possibly a wounded suspect at this point.
While officers wait for SWAT, they don't know whether to engage with Matasareanu or Phillips.
Chaos. I mean, it's chaos. You got guys trying to look for cover. Some guys behind a telephone pole, behind a tree, behind a car, over the fence. I mean, there was guys everywhere.
What takes place next is the critical turning point in the entire conflict, and police can't even see it. Hidden by the truck, Phillips attaches a fresh 100-round drum to his AK-47 and continues spraying bullets. A police bullet rips into the thumb on his left hand. He continues shooting, but moments later, his AK-47 suffers what's known as a stovepipe jam. After it fires a bullet, the AK-47 ejects the casing. But if the rifle suffers excess movement, a shell can become misaligned. It then gets trapped in the ejection port. To clear the jam, all Phillips needs to do is flick the trapped shell with his thumb. But because his hand's badly injured, he can't. He's forced to discard the AK-47 and produce his final weapon. It's a 9mm Beretta handgun, exactly the same model as the one carried by the police.
Then I'm thinking, we're even now, buddy.
This is the break officers have been praying for. But Phillips carries on shooting. He stoops to retrieve his dropped weapon and realizes there's no escape. Larry Phillips Jr. is dead. But his partner is still on the loose. He's got 3 automatic rifles and 2,000 rounds of ammunition.
Try to stay out of this area if you can. We have loose, armed, and dangerous suspects.
The Hollywood shootout is not over yet. Bank robber Emil Matasareanu needs to exchange his shot-up Chevy for a new getaway vehicle.
It appears like he's trying to coerce the other person to take his vehicle.
Eventually, he forces a Jeep to stop. He fires 3 rounds directly through the windscreen at driver Bill Maher.
Back window, everything just turns to confetti, and pain sets in. All of that in the flash of an eye.
Bill flees his truck, covered in blood. He's no idea what injuries he suffered.
My arm hurts, my head hurts, blood was gushing, but I'll figure that out later. You know, my concern was getting away from the scene.
Matasaranu sees a patrol car speeding towards him. He fires a shot, then transfers his guns into the truck and climbs in. It is now he makes an alarming discovery. Bill has taken the keys. The patrol car screams towards the truck, but it isn't carrying regular officers. This is SWAT.
I fired 2 rounds through the windshield of the suspect's vehicle.
Anderson shoots the suspect, flush in the chest. He thinks he's ended the gun battle.
I saw the suspect go down.
But the suspect is saved by his armor. To Anderson's horror, Matasaranu resurfaces.
And I thought, maybe I'm the world's worst shot.
They exchange more fire. Then, a SWAT officer's worst nightmare. Anderson's gun jams. As he clears it, he has an idea. Under the car, he spots a chink in Matasaranu's armor. The suspect isn't wearing protection on his lower legs.
I proned out, aimed, and continued to fire at the suspect.
Finally, with bullets riddling his legs, Matasaranu goes down. He's been shot 29 times, but he's still alive. As SWAT officers move in to arrest him, Matasaranu has a final surprise.
As soon as the suspect was handcuffed, the only thing that he kept saying over and over was, shoot me, kill me. We didn't respond to the suspect. We returned to the bank.
Police still don't know what awaits them inside the bank. They heard gunmen fire over 50 rounds before they exited, and fear there's been a massacre. They go in, but find nothing. Nobody. Then, one officer notices that the vault door is slightly ajar. He pulls it open. Customers and staff took refuge in the steel vault when the gunfight started outside. Miraculously, no one has been shot. No one is badly injured. Back in the war zone, medics have cleared the injured officers and civilians. Officers James Saborovan and Martin Whitfield are rushed into surgery. Police bring Whitfield's fiancée, Kim, to the hospital.
I remember they put me in a room and I paced and paced. And they would give periodic reports, you know, every few minutes. We'll be right with you, we're going to take you to him. But they never said, he's okay. They never said, he's not, they just said, we're going to take you to him.
Back on the streets, one injured man is still bleeding out. Emil Matasaranu lies here for 70 minutes until his body succumbs to the trauma and he dies. His family accuses police of letting him bleed to death. LAPD counters that ambulance personnel followed procedure in hostile situations by not entering the hot zone. The high-incident bandits fired over 1,100 rounds of ammunition. That's a bullet every 2 seconds. What were they hoping to achieve? They could have made their getaway. When officers raided their apartment, Amongst tens of thousands of dollars, they found a possible cause for the gang's bizarre behavior. In the VCR was a copy of the 1995 Hollywood heist movie, Heat. The similarities between the film and the shootout are uncanny. Right down to the fight to the death conclusion. Did a violent fantasy overtake the mind of Larry Phillips? As a direct result of the North Hollywood heist, some officers in LA can now carry automatic rifles. James Aborovan underwent several operations and suffers 2 herniated discs in his back. Despite constant pain, he's now a sergeant with the LAPD.
I was within an inch of that bullet hitting my spinal cord and paralyzing me from the waist down. I feel very fortunate that it didn't end my life or my career.
9 police officers and 2 civilians were shot that day. But, amazingly, only the 2 robbers died. Even Martin Whitfield, the officer everyone feared dead, survived. It took surgeons 8 hours to save him. He quit the LAPD and, eventually, made a full recovery.
I don't allow anyone to tell me how lucky I was. I don't buy it, and I don't let that pass. Luck is Vegas. Luck is horseshoe. This was an act of God, a stroke of his hand over the whole situation. 3,000 rounds, only the bad guy dies. This was a miracle for the entire world to see.